David Linden.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And can I start by commending my honourable friend, my home dog from the east side, my honourable gangster from Livingston, for what I thought was an excellent rap, and I think it's since made news back in Scotland. But I must say, speaking in the International Trade Bill, or the Trade Bill is not probably an area of comfort for me, but there are two reasons why I rise to speak tonight to oppose the bill. And will be in the No lobby later this evening. One reason is because a constituent of mine, Gordon Shaw from Burntbroom, had emailed me, and I think some of these points were made quite well by the Honourable Lady Member for the City of Durham, particularly around about a UK trade policy that's guided by poverty reduction and sustainable development goals, which I think are sorely lacking in this bill. But one of the other reasons why I rise to speak tonight is because over the course of the summer recess after I was elected, I spent some time going around visiting Soapworks, which is based in Queensley, McVitie's biscuits, which are produced in Tollcross, and Dewar's whisky, which is made in London Road in my constituency. And one of the common themes that was coming through all of these visits was the importance of staying in the single market and the customs union. And I've got to say, I thought that the speeches from the Honourable Gentleman Member for Edinburgh South and the Member for Nottingham East were very, very good. But I must say, I continue to be quite disappointed by the policy that's been taken by the Labour Party in relation to the single market and customs union. I don't think that all of those young folk who were chanting the name of the Right Honourable Gentleman, the Member for Islington North and Glastonbury, really expected that they were chanting for somebody who seems to be intent on a hard Brexit, albeit a cliff edge that will be going off slightly later than with the Tories. So even at this late stage tonight, I would urge as many honourable members in the Labour Party to come round to the position that they would favour continued membership of the single market and the customs union. But what I want to speak about tonight is the arrogance of this government, particularly over the use of Henry VIII powers, because over the course of my time, not in this House, but as some sort of political geek growing up, you would sit and you would watch BBC Parliament and you would see honourable members from Stone, Wellingborough, Christchurch all talk about the sovereignty of Parliament. And in a debate like this tonight, they have been absolutely absent because they're not here to talk about the fact that this government is taking back a number of powers and effectively trying to make law behind Parliament's back, and I think that's deeply irresponsible, and I'm very disappointed that they're not here tonight. But in the remaining time I have, because I am particularly conscious of time, I want to speak about the lack of consideration that the government gave to the consultation that took place. The consultation closed, and within 24 hours this trade bill was published. So I don't think that suggests that the government is actually taking anybody very seriously. 11,500 people wrote into the consultation, and well over 50,000 submitted a petition, and I think the idea that the government considered all of that. Now, I don't have a huge amount of faith in the British Civil Service at the best of times, but the idea that the British Civil Service has gone through all of those consultation responses and come up with a bill based on that is frankly laughable.
Hear, hear.
I want to talk about the importance of making sure that any trade agreements don't come at the expense of standards and rights, because one of the things that this government does have a pretty poor record on is trade at any expense, and we see that particularly with the government's very disturbing relationship with Saudi Arabia, because frankly this government is complicit in the murder of Yemeni children because they're quite happy to sell arms to the Saudis who drop them on the Yemenis, and I think that is deeply unsatisfying. I want to touch on the issue of fair trade as well, because I think some of these points were made by the Honourable Lady from the City of Durham, but quite rightly the Fair Trade Foundation have been deeply disappointed with the bill because there is no commitment to developing countries in the trade bill. I want also to touch on the issue of workers' rights, because Francis O'Grady, the TUC's General Secretary, described this as a ramshackle bill because it offers no protection for workers' rights and for public services like the NHS or foreign contractors. And I think one of the concerns that I would have is the relationship with the United States, because we're already seeing comments from Mr Ross, who is the US Commerce Secretary. He already told the BBC that a joint scoping exercise had taken place in Washington, and the government has said that it's quite keen to make sure that a free trade agreement would be one of the top priorities. But Mr Ross later said that continued passporting of financial services, the compliance with EU food standards on GM crops and chlorinated washed chicken are all barriers to this future trade deal. And so what I don't want to see is a government that is pursuing TTIP on steroids. The last, yeah, very happy to go on.
My honourable friend's making some excellent points about food standards within this trade deal, and is he aware that because of the different food standards that America has that we have, that if we accept a trade deal without scrutiny and without knowing what is in that trade deal until after it's signed, we leave our population at huge risk of having products such as infant formula, which do not meet the high standards that the EU currently have?
Absolutely. I very much commend my honourable friend from Glasgow Central, who I know has done quite a lot of work in that particular area. And one of the concerns with this bill is the fact that MPs will not have the ability to rubber stamp any of these trade deals because it's effectively taken away from us. But in the remaining minute that I have, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to speak about the impact on devolved governments, namely the fact that Schedule 1 of the bill means that the Scottish Government couldn't use powers to modify direct EU legislation such as EU regulations. The final thing that I want to touch on is the fact that the Scottish Government needs to be at the negotiating table when the UK Government are negotiating all these wonderful trade deals that we're told are going to happen. And the final observation, Madam Deputy Speaker, that I would make is that throughout the entire referendum campaign, we were told that this was about taking back control. And as all of this suite of Brexit legislation has been through the House of Commons, the only thing I can see is a power grab from the government, and that is directly at odds with the devolved settlement.